You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Hello there. Obi-Wan Kenobi here, or James Arnold Taylor, either or. Take your pick. And this is the Cantina Club. This is the show you're looking for. Don't move along. Stay here. Good stuff. Goodbye then.
We all know around here, Solo always does shots first. Singing yup no, raise your glass, and sing yup no. Sing it with me, yup no. At the Cantina Club.
I've been kind of scared of this show, and we've all been very busy, and so we haven't been on this show like we have some of the others, and
right.
We're always very limited on time. And but anyway, the show's been so kind of controversial online, and there's been a lot of just bullying and hate on both sides of whether you like it or dislike it that I've seen everywhere. That it's made me not want to participate in the online discussion on this show. And it was to a point where I was almost like, I didn't have to talk about it with you guys because we were too busy to do it anyway. Yeah. But I was kind of like sort of grateful we weren't getting in the middle of all that. And maybe I was going to suggest that maybe we wait till the end, and see how the whole thing plays out. And
just do like a one wrap up episode.
Yeah, because maybe it's going to get better and all that stuff. And maybe some of this weirdness would die down, but anyway, today I've been critical of the show, but not in a destructive way. I'm not trying to destroy the show. I've always been honest, and that's what scares me. Is I have a reputation for being harsh, well-earned reputation for being harsh, and a lot of times I have made fun of things, and I've been unpleasant in the past. Not just on YouTube, but in real life, as you guys know. And I have the reputation for ruining everything for many decades. But so I've been I had to think about how to approach this, and I just thought, I'm just going to be honest and just let it, just let the dice roll, because that's all I can really do. Yeah. I can't sit here and fake and just not say things or not react or not. And if people don't like it, they don't have to, they can tune me out or whatever. But what I'm going to say for this is I've been reading this whole time since this show started is just let go of everything and just enjoy the ride. Stop worrying about the plot holes. Star Wars is built on plot holes. So I'm going to try to watch this final episode in that frame of mind, just as a ride with no importance to anything. I'm going to, the canon has exploded on itself multiple times already, the Star Wars canon. And so I consider that ship to have sailed, and I'm just going to try to just have fun with it and not worry about it and see if that works for me, for once. But
it's like your favorite, for like one of your other favorite phrases, just be happy you're getting content.
Yeah, just be happy you're getting new content. And believe me, they always use the same argument. They say, you don't know what it's like to wait for years between movies. Yes, I do.
Wow. Yeah, we have no idea what that feels like.
Yeah. And
years between every movie and then decades between others.
Right. Yeah. And the truth is our standards were very much different back then. It was a totally different time. Yeah. But the competition level is high up there for your eyeballs, your attention, your money. And all of us have this underlying anxiety that we just want the product or the IP that we're so invested in, that we love so much, just to be good. Right. Just to do their best and put out a good product so that we can proudly enjoy it and not be taken out of it. There's a suspension of disbelief, even in a space wizard world with laser guns and, and everything. Exactly. There's still a suspension of disbelief you have to maintain. And
absolutely,
I say if you can be better, why not try? But all that aside, today I'm going to be Rosie Rodian, and I'm going to... I'm gonna enjoy
that'll be a first.
Good luck.
You guys feel free. If I had a shot caller, I'd give you the control, and if I start to say something, you can shot me back into place. But this is my one shot. I left it late in the game. I'm just gonna try to enjoy it. So being said, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, we'll see how long he keeps that promise. All right, so we're gonna do our first our reaction, and then we'll stick around and give our final thoughts and breakdown of the episode. All right, is everybody queued up and ready to go?
Hold on, let me get queued up.
You should be prepared, Gundark.
Okay, I'm at 0 with the little star almost above the eye.
Okay. Yep, that's where mine is. Oh, we lost the Rodian.
It's right between
I'm
the
here.
D
Oh, yeah.
and the I.
Okay. It's between what?
The D and the I.
Got it. Yep. All right. Are we ready? Ready for the countdown?
Yep.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Oh wait, no, I'm not.
Oh,
no.
okay.
I
All
thought you
right.
were gonna start from 10.
False.
It's
Oh,
a
well,
countdown.
I can start from 20. I can start from 25 if you need.
I wasn't prepared. Okay. So what are you counting down from?
Start at 3.
Okay, all right. Now I'm ready.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
There are certain scenes in this fictional series that some
more,
viewers may
more
find
Order 66.
upsetting.
Nervous.
Pull yourself together. I know this means a lot to you. This is your last
Yes,
pickle redemption shot that we know of.
Wow. False accusations.
I don't like these titles. They get everywhere.
But
They're coarse. They're rough. Oh, look, they have like an ice cream stand, like a. Oh, it's just a water stand.
Water.
What do you want to say? I have something to say.
This would be me on Tatooine. That would be me too. It's me versus me. All right. Now
Oh,
we're
wow.
talking. Yeah,
Wow.
They chased them.
That's awesome.
They did chase them.
Yep.
Tractor beam, you fools.
But once more, Vader.
Oh.
Somebody broke the last one.
Your uncle's a patient man.
I'm not that patient.
Maybe a beating will teach Beaver this time.
Roken needs more time to fix the ship. This will give him that time.
He looks real busy.
Yeah.
His hands are in his pockets.
Yeah.
He's mentally doing it.
He's working so
I'm making
hard.
a plan. The shaky cam is great. It's great.
Are we gonna have
Really
to have the
revolutionary.
shot collar?
Yeah.
No, it looks like it's shot by Jawas trying to hide. He's doing such a phenomenal job in this.
He really
That
is,
was
yeah.
so- he was wonderful in this scene.
One lone Jedi is not just any Jedi.
What?
These people
Who
never
chose
learn.
you? Like, who chose you? Did Vader choose you? And you're mouthing off to him?
Exactly.
Once more, Vader.
Did you not see what happened to the previous person that had the Grand Inquisitor pin?
Exactly.
Like,
So you get it back and suddenly start mouthing off. Not smart. Luke hasn't changed clothes in 10 years.
Just stretch them.
Arms along the waist. So stay in here. If anything goes wrong,
You will be. Landing on LV-426 here. Watch
A
out for
life
those.
form unlike any recorded. in
Say,
thousands
watch
of
out for those
systems.
facehuggers.
Acid for blood. Oh, it's Vader just casually taking the shuttle. No need to hurry.
Right.
I was hoping he said his ship would be the TIE Interceptor or the TIE
Right. That would be the TIE Advanced
prototype. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a Mickey Mouse toy.
Yeah, I know, right?
It is kind of. Yeah.
It is basically.
Hey, Obi-Wan.
Oh, oh boy, oh boy.
High ground. Get the high ground.
Oh, that is perfect. Owen Lars, action hero.
Yeah,
Comes with potted plant projectile. Damn.
Wow.
Vader's had to go to two hands here. You notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that on the last scene. He went from
Shows you
one to two pretty quickly.
Obi-Wan's turning it around here. Nice. Oh, I love shots like that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, right. Yeah, Obi-Wan, get some. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
No, that was a Darth Maul Qui-Gon.
That was.
Oh.
Oh.
You will always lose.
Because good is dumb. High ground.
Uh-oh, you're right.
I was thinking, is he going to pull them all here? Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Oh.
Buried alive.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what? There's a domestic violence call at Lars Homestead. I love the theme. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Finally getting some music.
Exactly. Makes a huge difference.
Oh my God, it's just massively different.
Yeah.
Oh, he almost got him there.
He tried the Vader trick of holding his breath.
Holding his breath.
Oh, nice spin for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason.
Now we're talking. He's feeling the flow.
Oh. Ow.
Wow.
Oh, just abusing him.
Oh. That's awesome.
You're not actually going to throw an asteroid field.
Oh.
Damn.
Dang. Oh, man.
Forecast is hail.
Now who's evil?
His armor is a lot better than his stormtroopers, evidently. Oh. Oh.
The twirl.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Breathe through that later.
I was wondering why I didn't use the Force to just flip all those switches. Damn, son. I'm going to throw the whole planet at you. Oh.
Wow. I hear the respirator.
The cape took it. Oh, the cape took a hit. Oh my God.
All of my back muscles.
Oh.
Oh, damn. He pulled an Ahsoka on him. I was wondering if he'd do that.
I was wondering if we were going to get that, or we'll get like a partial view of his face here.
I hope he just pulls the helmet off. Says F it. It's a good shot.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they had to get Hayden under the helmet.
Yeah, they needed that shot.
He called him Anakin. We're having a Bilbo moment here. Pity that stayed his hand.
I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it.
I am not filmed Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. I will destroy you.
They just justified Obi-Wan's line to Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did actually.
From Vader's own mouth. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Holy shit. Wow. What a scene. My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That was worth it. That was.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, full on
I
goosebumps there.
Never would have thought Vader would be the one to absolve Obi-Wan of his guilt. I mean, that's it.
I loved the smirk on his face too when he said, "I killed Anakin."
Yeah.
It's like,
wow, I did not see that
shit.
coming at all.
Everything in our path until he is found.
Emperor ain't falling for it.
The Princess Leia playset. Available now. Oh, here it comes.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it.
That's perfect.
Master Well, took you long enough. He's always here, Obi-Wan. We just are not ready to see. Come on. Ways to go. Ways to go.
Dun, dun, dun.
That was the episode we've been looking for.
That was really, really good. Wow.
It's amazing what a little optimism will do.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. I think it's interesting that Liam does the cameo there, and if you heard all of his latest interviews, he was always saying, "Oh, I would definitely come back to Star Wars as long as it's on the big screen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a TV
Well,
show." And like, bam, there
Why
it
do
is.
why do you think they're releasing this in the movie theater for one weekend? It's in his
Right.
contract.
Probably so. Yeah.
He probably gets every dime from that they're gonna make too.
Exactly.
I'm not kidding.
No, I'm not either.
He probably bid him over for that
Mhm.
6 seconds of screen time.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. You're right.
That was great though. I love the way they did it. That it was
Yeah.
just a part. It was a part of life. I thought it was going to be reverent and an afterward, like an
Mhm.
after credits scene or something.
Right.
And they did it as part of this more optimistic view that Obi-Wan has now, that life is going on.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I love the way they left it.
And
That
what did he
was
say? We have a
really
ways to
well
go.
done. Yeah,
It's
we have a
just-
ways to go.
There's still a purpose and something to
Mhm.
do. They're in motion. I like that.
And you'll notice too the way the dialogue was between him and Owen. They've left that open now for
Yeah.
more adventures of season 2 that they're rumoring now, because he's basically saying, "Oh well, I don't need to watch over him. That's your job. He just needs you and Baru to watch over him." Yeah, so that frees him up to do what he needs to do. So I think we're definitely getting a season 2 here.
Well, that was neat. That was so much better than I was expecting. I had a lot of trepidation about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really, really good.
I thought the best part was they didn't belabor the whole Reba stuff.
Yeah.
I was afraid the whole episode was going to be her holding him hostage and him trying to, bringing her pain out, and then it would all get resolved. And they just did it in a really sensible way, where
I agree.
they did some action, and then she was confronted with a choice, and she realized that she can't go that far, that she's, as an Inquisitor, she's failed, basically.
The scene between her and Obi-Wan was wonderful. I mean, her tears, her actually weeping, like that, and the scene where she fought Darth Vader made her more of a real character than she'd been all the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And that made me think, when she's crying, we just so rarely see tears in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And to see someone just actually weeping over what they've become and the opportunity to change, that was a really neat scene.
Yeah.
Well, they had to do that because her whole character is driven by frustration and anger. That's all we ever saw from her. Frustration, anger, ambition, and so when you take that away, she's back to the point of processing the actual horrible stuff she went through and that she's done to people too. And so that's when the emotions, came out.
Yeah.
So I wonder
showed some humanity.
What will the future for her be? Because I know that Greedo had mentioned that there were rumors about a series.
I was going to say, tune into the Disney Plus series and find out.
Yeah, I thought I read something online that they were thinking about doing a reboot series.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, will that be her fighting the Inquisitors, helping to hide Jedi?
Could be. Yeah. Kind of joining the path, as it were,
And how we never got an explanation, which is maybe good, of all those Jedi in Amber, is what's going on with that.
Right. Unless that's something they explore in another series or something, which they're prone to do. So.
Well, maybe she could go back, and if those people aren't dead, maybe she could rescue that kid or something.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Maybe that's a setup for something that will involve her character. If not in a spin-off series, maybe if they do a second season of Obi-Wan, have a role to play in that.
But I think her, I didn't like the character in the beginning, and I thought the character was awkward through. I'm not supposed to be saying anything negative, but I thought the character was awkward through a lot of the show. But these last couple of episodes, the editing was better.
And the writing was better.
And the writing was much better in this episode. The music was better, but the editing was still stumbling last episode. If they had smoothed that out and then gotten to this quicker, it's like this. I think this whole thing was just chock full of filler.
Yeah.
It was. I think it was honestly a 3-hour movie with 2.5 hours of filler.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was just a lot of needless stuff, and
yeah, there was.
But it just needs to be re-edited or something to where it's just tighter, makes more sense, and because once I started figuring out that she was frozen as a kid, you know, and she's still just pitching that fit as a kid, it made more sense. And there's a really profound story to take on there about violence against children and children being pawns. But one thing I don't think a lot of Star Wars fans don't talk about, I don't know if they get it or what, is that I think the whole children as pawns thing is historical from our world. You know, it's like Tower of London stuff. You know, if you're born into a legacy where you can be traced to have any kind of power or people can use you, you become a pawn from birth, and there's no getting out of it. You know, you're either married into an alliance or you're held hostage or both, or you know, or you somehow get enough influence and turn the tables where you end up on top. But so it's ruthless and everything, but it's not so much equated with like school shootings and stuff in its origin as it is, this is what's necessary in a coup. You know, it's like you have to eliminate the heirs that could come back to claim legitimacy.
Yeah, exactly.
And Anakin in Revenge of the Sith is just like, you know, the guy from the Tower of London. Made those kids disappear. I mean, you know, it's horrible and it's wrong, but it's historically, it's not about violence against children necessarily, or being angry at kids, or you know what I mean. It's a necessary evil where you become you detach and become impartial to it. It's like they have to go one way or the other, you know.
It's the evil of politics and power.
Yes,
children get caught up in the
cogs.
And
people as assets rather than people, and also the ego and everything of living. You know, no one. It's like he said, once you get power, the one thing you fear most is losing that power. What threatens that power is legitimacy that can rally opposition to you. So, but I did think this is an interesting take they took from a perspective of someone who was a victim of all of that.
Yeah.
And caught in the middle. And so she had no love of the Jedi either, because they left her in this position, you know, where she was a victim.
And the Jedi also took her in the first place, which I think was something that was real interesting about this series, is that it's kind of getting at the legacy too of taking kids away from their birth families and putting them into the Jedi Academy from the beginning.
Exactly.
Because she had that line that he slaughtered them. They were my only family. You know, and Obi-Wan talks about his just vague memories of the family that he still regrets losing.
Yeah, I think that's what season 2 will be. If they do a season 2, is I think he'll try
find
to
his brother.
Yeah, since he's kind of free of the Jedi thing a little bit, or it's now a new thing, that maybe he will get a call for help from his family, or will just go back to find out you know, who his family was or something. They'll involve that somehow. They don't just drop that stuff for no reason.
Yeah,
you know?
True.
But anyway,
that gives emotional depth to the characters. That was the feeling of being ripped away from your original family and then having your adopted family be destroyed by someone who was supposed to be the protector of your adopted family. It's like,
yeah,
so
exactly.
No wonder that set her whole story arc in motion, revenge. And I thought it was resolved really well between her and a person who she held partly responsible for that, between her and Obi-Wan, and someone who was also to some degree a victim of that, you know, and we got his backstory where he misses his original family. So if they go forward with stuff like that in the future, either in another season of this show or a spin-off show with her, I think that'll be really interesting. Because I can't get over the image of that youngling in Amber. I mean, that was the last one focused on, right?
Yeah, that was the last one they showed.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's definitely going to be revisited.
No, I agree. I think, yeah, like you said, they don't just drop this stuff in Star Wars for nothing. They always revisit this stuff and come back with an explanation at some point. And the way that I think it's structured through the quote unquote Mandoverse, even though this isn't necessarily a part of that directly, that, you know, Filoni and Favreau just, they do this, you know, this is what they're creating, are these different shows that all intertwine, you know, story wise. So I think, you know, with this time frame, if the Reva show happens, then obviously it's going to take place at the same time. So we're going to get answers through that show. Then people will start calling this the Kenobi verse.
I just the only thing I'll say about that is they've been teasing this for years now. Whatever all this genetic experimentation and midichlorian experimentation is, and where are they finally going to go into it? Was it in the sequel trilogy and that was the culmination, and then we don't need to look any further than that? Right. Or is it going to have implications that go, because if you bring Thrawn into it, I don't see Thrawn doing all these machinations with biology and the Force and stuff.
No, I don't either.
I don't see him being part of that. That's part of the Emperor and Snoke and all that. So I just wonder if they'll just explore it a little bit more in the Mando stuff as it relates to Grogu, just to create a threat against Grogu. But at some point they're going to have to kind of drop it or move on, or they'll bring in some more villains that take over that stuff and use it for their own reasons.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go with it, because I know based on the trailer for season 3, which I don't know if you guys ever saw it for Mando, because they didn't show it at Celebration. I mean, they showed it at Celebration, but it wasn't put out. They didn't broadcast that panel. And they tried to get as many people as possible to not record it, that kind of stuff. But I did find one last week where a guy had recorded it and put it up online, and that's basically showing nothing but, I think they're really turning towards the Mandalore plot at this point. They're really going to focus on Mandalore. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of interesting stuff going on with that. So I think that's the direction they're going. So it looks like they're going away from anything, Skywalker saga related. It's going to be more. Which
makes me think there's going to be a Skywalker show somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think so too.
That brings the central, but they've kind of, with the sequel trilogy, they've kind of punted that way down the road. So again, they'll have to create an intermediate villain for Luke or whoever, Luke's students or whatever, to take down, and still have the sequel trilogy have any kind of relevance. But
yeah, that's true.
Anyway, though, back to this episode, the two things that I want to start out, 3 things. One, the soundtrack, we talked about it.
Yeah.
But a totally different show when you
just makes so much. I mean, the music, that just shows you how important the music is to these shows. It's like we've all seen like cuts of Star Wars without the music, just as an example. It's like, well, it's really clunky and not good, No. But then suddenly you put John Williams behind it and it's like, oh, this is amazing.
It's like going from the soundtrack of Law and Order, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, but it's just TV, typical
Star Wars. Yeah,
right. It's just typical TV production.
Yeah, it's just notes here and there, then a swelling, of notes when something happens, but nothing, no individual themes. No, going from that to going to more of a orchestrated thematic. It was totally different, and then also they did 2 major retconning points here, which was live or die in my point of view. That one is he's more machine now than man, and and that
Anakin Vader killed Anakin.
He betrayed and murdered your father.
That,
and then the Leia one at the end where he says, "Don't let on that we know each other." For both of us. Now, does that hold up? I don't know. It's a weak attempt, but you were never ever, if you're going to go that way, you just had to accept that there's no way to really paste over episode 4. We can't go back and add a scene where we show her in shock over Obi-Wan being killed.
Right. And I don't know that that doesn't bother me as much as it does you, Greedo. But for me, the whole Leia Obi-Wan thing was made worth it by the moment when the two of them talked together at the end, and he told her about her parents. And you got Princess Leia's theme swelling in the background.
Oh my goodness, that was perfect.
Oh, I got teary-eyed.
And that was excellent. That was really great.
So I will accept some inconsistencies in their relationship to get a scene like that.
We're lifelong Star Wars fans. We know all about inconsistencies.
And both Ewan McGregor and the little actress playing Leia were so good in that scene. It was just well worth it to me.
Agreed. So the final couple of episodes have really salvaged that series for me. I want to go now, maybe this weekend I'll sit down and actually try and watch the whole thing over the course of the weekend, more back to back to back, and see how it flows better, knowing what I know now. So
well, what about there are two other things that we haven't talked about. First, the appearance of the Emperor at the end. That was Ian McDermott, right?
It was.
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely, it was.
I loved that scene.
I love it.
I loved how he was just totally silent, letting Vader rage, and then when Vader stopped, the Emperor just pauses for a minute, just looking at him.
Just looking at him,
Okay, are you done? I sense that you are disturbed.
The Emperor sometimes it takes the place of the audience a little bit.
Yeah, he does.
And I feel like he was there, just kind of like I'll appear in your show, and then kind of taking Vader down a peg, and the look on his face was so perfect. It's like he enjoys this shit. That's why he does it.
Yeah, he loves doing that stuff.
He loves ruling galaxy, and he loves enjoying the fruits of it, and he loves tormenting everybody.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that Robot Chicken episode, A Day in the Life of the Emperor, when he's getting those cell phone calls from Darth Vader. He said, he's gonna whine again about that panda bear or whatever.
Panda bear, Padme Panda Bear, whatever it is.
Slow down. What the hell is an aluminum falcon?
Yeah, what the hell's an aluminum falcon?
You're telling me teenagers blew up the Death Star?
Oh, great.
Not again.
That's so funny. That's perfect.
Now, what about the scenes between Vader, Anakin, and Obi-Wan? We were not really expecting that, were we? Or were you? I was worried that there wouldn't be a suitable final meeting between them.
I didn't see how they were going to get together again. I didn't
either. Yeah,
I thought they magically escaped from the last episode. Like, I thought if they got on that ship and got away, that some of that Star Destroyer just didn't exist, and they were just, magically got away. And so I thought that was the end, pretty much, for the Vader storyline. But I thought it'd be Reva, just an hour of Reva being the villain.
Yeah.
And so, thank God that didn't happen. And Carillion, you're the prequel and Clone Wars guy, really. So I want to hear your take on it.
On which, just the whole thing?
What she just asked about Anakin and Vader versus.
Oh yeah, it had a lot of meaning for me, especially because I think it's perfect that I'm actually doing a rewatch of Clone Wars as we speak. I'm like,
again?
Well, yeah. Of course.
Didn't you just do that?
No. You're
wait a week and start again.
Oh my gosh, no! You're thinking of when I started like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, when I texted you guys and said, "Hey, I'm doing a number 7 rewatch."
Is that what I'm thinking? Okay, all right.
Yeah, because I haven't rewatched it in like 2 years. So, I know I'm slipping, but anyway, I'm actually I think I'm around episode 18 of season 5 now. But anyway, get back to your question. It means a lot more, I think, when I put it in the context of Clone Wars and the relationship that they built through that show. Because I was literally watching that scene with Clone Wars in mind. I didn't just have the movies in mind. I was thinking Clone Wars because that's the most immediate timeline to this. And that made it even more intense, I thought, because the whole time I'm literally picturing all the times they fought side by side and all the struggles they went through for years through the Clone Wars, only to have it all end in tragedy, with Anakin going to the dark side, and now it's come to this. But visually, I thought it was fantastic. It just, we got that Ahsoka moment, like we talked about, with the mask being busted open, and we got to see, and that was really well done too. And I think Hayden did a fantastic job with what little he gave him. We didn't get to see a lot of him throughout the series, but what little we did, we got to see was really well worth it. He was phenomenal. So yeah, I would say it definitely meant a lot to a Clone Wars fan. I know I took a particular pleasure in that scene.
What about you, Gundark?
I loved it. The fight was great. I like pulling out all the stops and using the rocks and everything and the surroundings. I like seeing Obi-Wan get his groove back
Yeah.
And
That scene with him with his arms out with the
yeah,
lightsaber
that was,
and the rocks.
yeah, the
I thought
rocks
that was
coming off.
amazing. I think I know what the
Like,
screenshot's going to be for our thumbnail this week.
we waited for that. And
Yeah.
I like the opening images of the standoff in the desert, before they meet amongst
Oh,
the
yeah.
rocks or whatever. That was really cool. The posters, some of the recent posters were made from. So the images, the visuals of the fight were cool. But the emotional impact between the two actors, and especially Ewan McGregor, when he tells him how sorry he is. And again, I mentioned the tears because tears are so rare in Star Wars, and his eyes are just filled with tears, and it's such a genuine moment. And the fact that it's the Darth Vader character that absolves him of that's something I didn't expect at all.
Did not see that
so
coming
I thought
at
the
all.
dialogue it was also very well written.
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah,
far,
I
far
thought he
better
was
than
going
I
to say,
imagined.
I was not your failure, Obi-Wan. I was your greatest achievement, or something like that.
Right.
But he basically said, I'm not your failure,
Mhm.
or Anakin wasn't your failure. I killed Anakin, you didn't. And that was such a perfect choice. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to, like I said, I have to mull on it and think about it, but it really was a perfect choice of dialogue to link the prequels in episode 4 together, where you could see Obi-Wan genuinely believing, Vader killed, I can see him leaving a lot of stuff out when Luke is young and not able to handle all this stuff. It doesn't let them off the hook in Empire when they let him run off the face of Vader, knowing
true.
Vader's probably going to drop it on him. But yeah, it is a perfect kind of dialogue there, and that smirk he gave was so evil.
Yeah.
Where it's like he was reveling in killing Anakin, who was Obi-Wan's, taking something from Obi-Wan like that. But also you wonder, as part of him, like you said, purposefully absolving Obi-Wan also, it's hard to say,
it's hard to say how that which direction they intended that.
Because Vader never really reveals why he's after Obi-Wan so hardcore in this. Is it just revenge for being left to burn, and for having, or is it, what is it? It doesn't really come out and say what it is.
The way I interpret that is that's like the filmmakers leaving it up to the audience to decide.
Yeah.
Because we already know their story, so it's just kind of up to us to decide why he's so
I feel like Obi-Wan's like his last challenge to himself at this point. Anakin, left remnants of Anakin that could still be there, and he's like, I need to kill this last part of myself, prior self, to move on with what we're doing next. And so it's self-hatred probably that he's taking out.
I think
because
so.
Obi-Wan doesn't even feel like he's hating on Obi-Wan himself. It's something else,
I like too how it was his compassion for the children and his sense of his mission to protect the children that got him out of all of that. When Vader thought he had buried him, that he was thinking about Luke and Leia finally, and that's what gave him the power to raise the rocks. Come back fighting.
Obi-Wan's one of the greatest characters in Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Without question. One of the greatest Jedi. And despite the rocky beginning and the fact that I thought, I guess the episode's over, so I can say negative stuff now, right? It's my moratorium lifted.
Your moratorium. You can take the shot collar off now.
I thought the relentless, bleak negativity at the beginning was too much, and I will always, in my heart, disagree with the extremity they took it for this character. I don't think that character would need a kid to restore his strength, but as a story, they want to, and actors and all that, they want to dig into something. They want to go somewhere. They don't want to just be static and in the same spot. So I get it, but at the same time, I don't really get it. And I feel like a movie would have gotten us past that point a lot faster.
It wouldn't have labored over it as much.
Than having him be this burnout for so long. It took way too long. Ewan's just so charismatic, and when he really sold that, you felt the burden taken off of him. And he had that charisma under the lampshade the whole time, and when he was allowed to bring it out, it was like, wow, this, bring on season 2,
because in the end, that's what it was like, because he got a swagger back,
and there's no denying this is one of the greatest characters and legacies in Star Wars is this character.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them do any more harm by overdoing it, but
True.
It did leave me wanting to see
a little bit more and see what's next.
The guy's still around. He's still around. He's obviously at the height of his acting.
Yeah.
Powers,
and he loves doing it. I mean, he's admitted
goes.
multiple times he loves playing this character. It's not, he doesn't look at it as like, oh, Star Wars, I got to do this.
When you look at everything that happened in this series, that was just determined to break your suspension of disbelief. I never once stopped believing that was Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
True.
He really picked up everything that they threw at him, and they threw a lot of stuff.
They did.
They tried to break him down, but when he was on screen and doing stuff, I was there with him, and even the stuff that I didn't see it as the same exact Obi-Wan character that I can believe in going into the original trilogy. I could still, I still believed Ewan's performance was so good in all of it. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen in Star Wars, I think, in a Star Wars media. Nobody can accuse him. I've seen people actually accuse him of just cashing the check and mailing it in. It's like, I don't see that at all.
No,
I think he put everything. I think he put everything into this that he could.
Agreed.
Within the Star Wars is always going to have constraints on your, on the characters and the performances and stuff.
Exactly.
But I thought he put in just amazing work. And the scenes with the ones that I'm going to remember from this series are his and the conversations with different characters. There's no action sequence that jumps out at me as particularly memorable. It was shocking when Vader dragged him to the fire, but it's more the conversations and the acting that went on between the different actors and even the ones that I thought kind of went in the wrong direction or I wish they'd done slightly differently or whatever, they were still good scenes. And anyway, that's the stuff I'll remember from it is like this last episode, the character moments, more so than and I really like that. I know a lot of people want to see the twirls and the superb Nick Gilliard, fencing and stuff.
Right.
But to me, the lightsaber battles are about telling a story and about enhancing the characters. Yeah. And I thought this episode did an excellent job of that. It didn't distract you with them twirling their sabers.
With too much twirling. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And flips and dives and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Everything seemed to tell you something this time. They did such a better job with the editing and the flow and everything in this episode. I don't know what happened with the others, but
right. Well, for me, to get on to your point about the lightsaber duels, for me, it, like you said, it tells a story. For me, the best lightsaber duels are the ones that have emotion attached. It's not just two people trying to outdo each other with, laser sword skills. That's why, the Luke and Vader Empire Strikes Back duel is my all-time favorite because it's so emotionally driven. And then this one was also the same way. This was completely emotional driven, and I just loved that. That was fantastic. That just gives so much more gravitas to the whole fight, to the whole scene. So that's what did it for me. It's not just, let's just see who can outskill the other, So that's that's a good point. So. And one other point, too, to touch on real quick while I'm thinking about it, Gundark made the point that obviously we don't get a lot of tears in Star Wars. This is probably the most tears we've had since The Last Jedi and the fans.
Something terrible has happened.
That's the most tears ever in Star Wars. The fans streaming out of the first viewing.
The tears evaporated eventually and just left this giant pillar of salt. It's still standing. Yeah. But no, the lightsaber dueling, I think in a TV show, they're going to be hard pressed to come up with an iconic fight.
Yeah.
I really thought the Mandalorian did a good job with Moff Gideon and the Mandalorian in there, and that's the one I remember the most from Disney TV off the top of my head. But the laser fight, the shootout fights can be done really well. That whole last episode of season 2 of Mandalorian, the fighting was done really well. But it's going to be hard on a television budget and time because the fights take months. And good ones, really good ones take months and weeks of dedication. You can't be really doing much, if anything else, except going over and over and over your choreography. And you can't do that with your main actors. And, maybe if they hire fencing doubles, and then we don't want that either. So you have to compromise somewhere. And I thought the first fight in this series had some awkwardness to it. that really showed. And this one was just about a perfect balance of what I would expect. If it was a movie, it would have probably been even better, you know, because they would have had the time to dedicate to it. But I think these guys know what they're doing. And when you film it correctly and edit it correctly, and the cinematography and the music, it's all about fooling the audience, you know, just continually fooling them with this magic trick. And my first impression is they did a great job of that. Even when they were kind of bringing on the video game theatrics, you know, it didn't break it for me.
Right.
And even I could tell the setting was cheaper than I'd seen in a movie. Like I was joking about it.
Well, we'd made that comment on a couple episodes. Yeah.
It did look a little bit like a video game cutscene at times. But I've never been that worried about that stuff. You know, I've watched a lot of things in my life that were lowest of the low budget, you know. You just have to admire people's will to try. But I do understand people saying, hey, come on, give us some more. This is Disney and this is Star Wars. But anyway, as far as the Anakin stuff and the breaking the mask, I was wondering if they would even do that because it's been done in Rebels, and when does it become redundant? But I guess it just keeps working because in one way, Anakin was a different Anakin from Rebels. He was the one from Clone Wars, so we were getting the return of one Anakin. In this, we're getting the return of the live action Anakin, and I thought that was one of my favorite moments when he was on the ground and the sparks were pouring out of his helmet, kind of.
And the way he was yelling at Obi-Wan, yelling his name when Obi-Wan left, that was intense.
So much better, so much better performance from Hayden. I mean, it's like, thank God. It does, I don't know, it's good. It's good to see these guys come back. And like I said, it's not quite the victory lap that I was hoping for the prequels, to just elevate all this stuff, you know, to some Shakespearean level or something. But it's pretty damn good. You know, it's pretty damn good. It was very satisfying. And they kept it minimal too. They didn't wring their hands for a long time. They didn't have a super ridiculously long conversation.
Right. It was balanced well.
Yeah, it was
between the fighting and the talking and all the
emotional. When the dialogue had to be perfect, they picked the right things to say.
Yeah. Right.
Did you guys expect Obi-Wan to apologize? I never expected that. That really got me when he said, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I
mean,
did.
it's true to the character for him to do that. Because I mean, he even did that in Revenge of the Sith. You know, like, "I'm sorry, I have failed you." You know,
well, he never said sorry.
Well, he didn't say I'm sorry, but that was implied. You know, it's like, I failed you. This is my fault. You know, basically, is what he's kind of saying. Like, "Oh, I screwed up." It's kind of like the coach of a team. If the team loses, the team's the one playing, but he's like, "Oh, I didn't have him prepared. It was my fault. I didn't. You know, I screwed this up." You know, and that's the way I've always taken that.
Yeah, but I do think the choice of words is significant, because when you tell someone when you're fighting them, "I failed you," you could be saying, "I just couldn't help you. You're just, you know, I failed because you're just such a screw up." But when you say, "I'm sorry," there's nothing else.
There's no
nothing
question
attached
at
to
that point.
Yeah, you're just laying bare and saying, "I am sorry." That is powerful. You know, that's like the minimal, the best you can go with an apology, and taking responsibility on yourself. And
Agreed.
I felt like with his performance, he really meant that. You know, it was like, when he saw Anakin's face through the helmet and the suffering that Anakin was still going through, it was like, whew, that was a lot. That was good.
And I loved from a special effects standpoint, I loved the way they went back and forth with the voice. You know, kind of James Earl Jones combined with Anakin, and sometimes it's just Hayden, and that it just goes back and forth. That was great. Yeah.
And sometimes it was like they merged it where you couldn't even really recognize it.
That's what I'm saying. It was kind of a combination of both. You couldn't tell. And did you guys catch?
Kind of demonic.
Yeah, it was. It may have added to it.
Times.
But there was one moment too. I was going to see if you guys noticed this when they put in the. It almost sounded like a direct sound clip from his raspy breathing in Return of the Jedi when Luke was beating him.
Yeah.
Did you notice that whenever Obi-Wan was beating him down pretty good? There was that real like that, you know, that real high pitched sort of wheezing. Yeah, look for that, Gundark. It was. I was like, oh wow, that was intense. It's like
Vader is about to die. Vader needs food badly. Needs Bacta badly.
That's perfect. Vader is about to die.
And what do you guys think? Was there any question like, Obi-Wan won the fight? which I didn't know if I expected him to come away as a draw at least. But I didn't know that I expected him just to wail on him at the end.
Same here. I didn't expect him to just completely turn the tables. Yeah.
Is it weird that twice now Obi-Wan has walked away and left him alive?
I was going to bring that up. That's interesting. So now we got to weigh, like, so what are the consequences to the galaxy that he let him live? You know,
I mean, pretty intense,
right? I mean, in a way, not to make too much of a
Right.
historical allusion here, but that's like, okay, you have a chance to kill Hitler, you know,
Right.
it's like, he's like, no, I'm out, you know, and let him go do what he does. you know?
But how many horrible things did Vader directly engineer himself? Basically, Obi-Wan just allowed the killing of a whole bunch of Imperial officers by sparing Vader, right?
Right.
I mean, Vader
Yeah, Vader didn't destroy
and some rebels in a hallway.
Alderaan,
There were some
yeah,
rebels in a hallway who died because of
There were some rebels in a hallway.
Help us! Help us! No.
No. That's awesome. All right, do
But
we want to do?
are we gonna rate this episode?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do
let's
ratings.
rate it.
All right, let's start with Gundark this time.
I give it a 9.
Okay, I also give it a 9. That means it has to be no more than an 8.5 for for the Rodian.
I'm just in shock. You guys went so low on it.
Oh,
Are you
really?
giving it a 10?
Oh, you
Are you giving it a
Well, hang on now.
10?
There was a lot of
He doesn't
problems.
even have his shock collar on, and he's gonna give it a 10.
I know, not even with a shot collar.
You guys just won't allow me to do anything nice. You just make it impossible.
It's all our fault.
No, it's like the fate of so many people are wrapped up in their self-image of me giving this a 10 or whatever that I don't want to do them any favors in their life. So I don't know that I want to do that. But no, there was some problems at the beginning of the episode that I kept on blabbing about. And I said I wasn't going to say anything negative, but they were glaring again. You're like the guy, he's working hard on the couplers. He's like standing there with his hands in his pockets.
Yeah, exactly. He's working hard to get the ship working again. He's just standing there leaning up against the wall.
He's union. There's nothing we can do.
Exactly. He's on a break.
It's his 15-minute break.
It's his 15-minute break.
The shields will hold if they won't. I mean,
yeah. Hey, Gundark. Did you get the rating? Did you get his rating? I haven't heard a rating.
I
haven't heard a rating.
I thought it was a 10.
Yeah, I think you said a 10.
All right, for right now, I'm going to give it a 10. I am.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm
going to regret this.
Tune in next week, folks. He'll have talked himself into a 4.
I
have to mull it over. But I think I'm not a prequels person. I know. People say that people have warmed to the prequels. I still pretty much despise most of the prequels. I like what I like still, and I've softened a little on some of it. But Attack of the Clones is my worst movie, and it switches back and forth with one other movie. But so I haven't softened on it. But as far as a prequel story goes, this one episode was probably as close to as good as you're going to get, I would think. And for me, they did enough to heal the exploded Star Wars canon that's lying in pieces everywhere. They did enough in this one episode to try to piece that together. That one line of dialogue was so brilliant to me that I give them a lot of credit for that. I just wonder where this stuff was the rest of the series, and what could have been, like what could we have been enjoying if they
I think we've summed it up by saying they just added so much filler to it. They padded out a 3-hour film into 5.5 hours.
But you're telling me there's not better filler sitting around, the more entertaining stuff to put in?
They could have had better filler, but I suspect like what you were imagining in previous episodes when we were talking about this, that there was a lot of chaos behind the scenes and they were rushed, and trying to, and so they ended up with a lot of stuff that they just have to cobble together to try to make their miniseries, So sure, there could have been a lot better filler, but I don't think they had the time and the resources to make it.
I think a lot of my ratings coming from the optimism they injected into the end of it. I really, really liked that. I liked every bit of optimism they brought into it. And the way they I did not like the overarching story of Obi-Wan, being a heroin addict or whatever. But for a final episode to reinvigorate him and bring new purpose, and it was more than just that it was like he kind of rediscovered his whole life in a way, that his life has value
Yeah, he did.
regardless
I
of a
get
mission
that,
or
yeah.
anything else.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that he was kind of letting go of control of a lot of things, which is something we all could learn to do, you know.
Mhm.
And I love that message. I just thought the optimism was, instead of being cheesy, it was underplayed and really well done and
Yeah.
much needed
Well
after a
acted,
very
yeah.
bleak series. So that's part of the big reason why I'm giving it a 10. But after the first 10 or 15 minutes, I just didn't feel like it stumbled a whole lot. I think they hit their big moments exactly the way they needed to.
Mhm.
And yeah, there's some stuff like, how could he get from planet A to planet B that quickly? And, you know, I mean, there's still issues, but
The only reason I docked at a point was that you mentioned the first 10 or 15 minutes. It seemed to drag just a little bit at the beginning to me. When they were escaping Vader, when they were aboard the ship or whatever it was that they were in, there just didn't seem to be a sense of urgency among the people.
There's no urgency. Yeah,
there was no urgency. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
stuff that could be fixed that I don't understand.
Yeah.
But they had scenes they wanted to fit in there that they needed to be melancholy and slow and thoughtful, and that doesn't fit anywhere with a Star Destroyer chasing you and blasting your eyes off.
Yeah.
You know?
There was one moment when they they broke away and they came back and they showed Obi-Wan sitting on that box looking at his lightsaber, and then it started to hit me. I was like, wait a minute, weren't they being chased by a Star Destroyer? And then we're just talking about how they're trying to keep the ship from falling to pieces, and they're just like sitting there in the quiet.
There's easy fixes to 90% of this stuff, and what I would just off the top of my head would say is, the Star Destroyer is closing on us. They'll be in firing range in this many minutes, and we don't have, you know, our ship's falling apart and our hyperdrive. We're trying to fix the hyperdrive.
Yeah,
something like we took a hit. We took a hit evading the Star Destroyer at first, and so we're losing. You know, they're going to catch us. Just put a time clock on it, and that way everybody could be in dread, sitting there going, "Oh, they're going to catch us."
Yeah.
And he has to make the decision to go confront. I mean, isn't that instead you just want to have a shot to honor the episode 4 of a ship dodging the laser bolts? It's like, do something that makes sense over something that's a little more spectacle.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have this problem in Empire, you know.
Yeah, no. If you're gonna have a sort of
hyperdrive getting chased, and
you got to show the pilot sweating bullets, like, oh,
right,
greatest
which is
piloting
exactly
I've
what
ever
they
done
did
in
with
my
Han
life.
and
You know?
Luke and Han and Leia and Chewie and all that. Yeah, exactly.
I was half kidding when I said maybe Wedge. You know, there's so many kids take the lead in this series. That maybe Kid Wedge is in there piloting.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where they discover he's a phenom. I mean, like,
right.
He took a garbage scow and evaded a Star Destroyer for 15 minutes while they could all have their emotional scenes.
That actually would have been a really good touch. I like that.
But no, that's the series in a nutshell. Is those kind of problems. They just weren't as glaring this time, and you could accept it. But it's the same thing as a guy saying, "I can't help you. I'll help you." And then, you know, the guy needs to work his ass off, who's standing there with his hands.
Who's standing there with his hands in his pocket.
It's just weird. It's like, come on, are you guys reading this stuff, or are you?
Right.
Did it make it through? Why did they make it through rehearsals?
He's desperately trying to save the ship as we speak.
Yeah,
he's standing over there, you know, smoking a cigarette or something.
He's like, I'm just overcome with sadness at the moment. Give me a minute. I'll be back hard at work. I felt like this moment needed solemnity more than survival. But the series is full of that stuff. But
that's true.
I just don't know how you justify that. But
so we've got our episode ratings. How do we rank this overall series-wise compared to the other two Star Wars series we have so far, Mando and Boba Fett?
Well, I still put Mando first.
I definitely put Mando. Yeah,
Mando is the is absolutely
it's a show about nothing. It is a sequel to the Seinfeld.
Yeah, show about nothing. Exactly.
Nothing ever happens, but it's still great.
It's still great.
And Mando also seems to have higher production quality. I had expected this series to have better production.
Yeah, I thought this was going to have more of a cinematic quality.
Do you know how many plots in Star Wars would be defeated if that tracking never worked again that they introduced in Mandalorian? What were they thinking with that tracking fob?
Yeah, exactly.
And then never explaining it. Like, this whole Obi-Wan series have been over in seconds. It's like, oh, mighty tracking fob, do I have any descendants in the galaxy? Oh, wait. Oh, this is unexpected. There's two.
What? What?
One is flat, one is here, and one is here.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in the deep end here and go ahead and say that I preferred Boba Fett to this series.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
Interesting.
Although it's close,
Interesting.
this last episode did so much to raise my estimation of this series.
That is a hard call.
But Boba Fett, I didn't have the same level of problems with it that so many people did. Overall, I enjoyed it, but I just loved the Tusken Raiders episode and then the Mando episodes in Boba Fett. Of course, that's like a different storyline, but those were some of the best Star Wars stuff ever made. This is the best Star Wars TV.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't get the people who get all upset that Boba Fett wasn't in a couple episodes. It's called Book of Boba Fett. There are different chapters and books that follow different characters.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it may have been a little awkward or whatever, but as long as it's good, what are we complaining about? And those were two of the best episodes. Were the two that had the Mandalorian.
And I just feel like the Obi-Wan series didn't quite have that many episodes that were of that quality to me.
Right.
It had the one at the end, or three. I really loved the first confrontation between Vader and Obi-Wan, and then the last two episodes. Maybe if it had been reduced to a 3-episode miniseries or TV event, it would have ranked higher than the Boba show for me.
All right, I'll go. I'm actually going to agree with Gundart. I'm going to put Boba Fett number 2.
Wow.
That's hard to do. I don't know. I even as I'm saying it, I'm second guessing myself.
Yeah, no, it's really.
You know what? Honestly, I'm gonna put Kenobi second for now, and Boba Fett third. I mean, just Darth Vader. You know, I just Darth Vader alone. I got to put that in there. So I'll put Kenobi second behind Mandalorian and Boba Fett a close third place.
I think at some point we're gonna get to the point where we're rating, in retrospect, these series and stuff by individual moments and individual episodes.
Right.
And we're gonna. It's not gonna matter so much the show because they're intertwining the characters and everything so much.
Mm-hmm.
So with that perspective, Obi-Wan possibly had the better episode with this one, a single episode. But Boba Fett, the Tusken Raider episode 2 is one of my favorite things I've ever seen him do anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have gone to a theater multiple times to see that.
Yeah.
And the other 2 episodes and the season finale, although it was a little flat, it had some great moments, but I just don't know. Obi-Wan dropped the ball on this. The expectations were so much higher. This could have been epic level. And I think if you just did a super edit, it would be pretty damn good, you know, a pretty damn good moment, but it did not fulfill its promise really. But when I look at Leia and Obi-Wan and Vader to a large extent, I don't see performances in Boba Fett to rival those.
Yeah.
So depends on what you're looking for. As an emotional story, there's no contest. It's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
As a continuity arc, I don't know. They're both bad in that regard, but my takeaway is they need to do better. Both of those series together. My takeaway is they're capable of greatness, and they don't give it to us. They don't give it to us on a consistent level. Like Boba Fett should have been the lesson. Like we did too many episodes. We should have titled it differently. You know, instead of calling it Boba Fett and then steering away from Boba Fett. It's managing expectations. It's doing the stuff and hitting your greatness in stride, so where it feels like you're building to that instead of it being an accident or like this other stuff was incidental and didn't even, you know, never have to watch it again. The bad stuff. It needs to be blended into where it's up and down and you're going on a journey. And this was just so all over the place, and it felt worse in that regard than Boba Fett. And Boba Fett should have been the warning to that. They should have looked at it and gone, we need to learn from this
and do better.
And it actually got worse this time. And so I'm worried about the future, but I also know they have a lot of greatness that they can call upon. They just need to do better. And for the people out there, and I even said it, I'm just going to enjoy it. And I did. I gave it a 10. What do you want from me? But overall, pay attention. Pay attention. Don't just fall in line and drool over this stuff. You don't have to be a harsh critic and hateful, but there's nothing wrong with admitting that it needs to get better. And that we want a little higher. We want the standard of the good episodes in the bad ones. That's all. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not criticizing anyone in particular, directors, editors, actors, because I'm not there. It's super hard to make these shows, but when you can watch it and go, well, just tweak this.
But so much of it can be saved in the writing process and in the planning process. This isn't something that you save on set. This is something that you save. It makes me wonder,
like, how bad did it start off in the first cut?
Right.
For it to make a final cut and be that bad. Like they already applied tourniquets, to try to fix it, and this is the best they could come up with. It's what's going
Seems
on?
That way.
But anyway, this episode was I don't know how you judge this stuff now. I guess you just got to enjoy it for what it is. But this episode was great, and
it really was
justified the series. If they had let it all out at once and let everybody stream it all at once, I think the criticisms would have been way less.
I agree. Yeah,
than having to deal with these clunkers and just wait another week and not know what's coming next.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any final thoughts, Gundart?
Well, I'm hoping I wasn't even expecting there might be a season 2 of this, and now I'm hoping there will be.
Yeah. The rumors are out there that they're.
I think it'll be a Vader show. I think it'll be a Vader show.
You think they're going to do a Vader show?
Yeah, they unleashed the theme, right? Is one of the last shots.
Yeah.
I think that's a shot over the bow that the Vader show is coming. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would love to see one of him kind of chasing down Jedi and working with the Inquisitors and stuff like that. I'd love that.
I'm done with the Inquisitors. I need to go, but
no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, but in that context, maybe they would be treated better. Maybe they would do them better.
Yeah. No offense.
I've always been very underwhelmed by the Inquisitors.
When the Inquisitor was opening his mouth on the bridge, we were all just astonished. Like, what, dude?
What?
How many stabbings do you need, buddy?
Exactly.
How many of your limbs are mechanical? I'd really like to know, because I think you've lost some at this point. We don't know about.
Exactly.
Anyway, that was a great episode. I'm glad they exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, they definitely ended the series on a high. So I'm happy about that. They definitely went out with a bang. So, but well, that's it for now. We'll be back shortly with more content. We've got a few ideas, some things I'd like to do for the rest of the summer, and we'll see you guys then.
Tune in for our 8,000th Clone Wars rewatching tribute.
Exactly.
Hey, what's going on?
What is it?
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
This isn't going to be easy.
Good luck.
You must be cautious.
Sing yum nub. Sing yum nub. Come on, sing yum nub. Singing yum nub. Yum nub. Singing yum nub. At the Cantina Club.
Well, kind of like you were saying with Obi-Wan Kenobi being such a great, he's almost to Fives level.
Yeah, I was gonna promote my Fives fan fiction. Everybody can go read.
Oh, okay,
I thought that might be just a little too self-serving. But it is epic.
It is.
He almost reaches the number 6. With all those Fives. But
does Gregor make a cameo? I'm not gonna read it unless Gregor's in it.
Who's Gregor again?
Yeah, pretty much. It shits all over Gregor every chapter, so you might not want to. It might trigger you.
Yeah.
I have to shit on Gregor to make Fives the best Fives he can be.
Right, Fives is Fives.
He's more powerful than the Emperor, so I have to shit on the Emperor.
He's that close if he's not.
It's pretty much 6 chapters of 5s getting awards for things.
He was the only clone smart enough to uncover Order 66 before it happened.
He wins the presidency. He just accepts awards for chapter after chapter.